Hey everybody, here's a question for you. What do you do when you feel completely alone in this world? It kind of stops you in your tracks, doesn't it? Somebody just asked me this recently. That was the effect that it had on me. Because not only is that a horrible feeling, but when you're in it, you feel kind of stuck. And I wanted to actually talk about that because I'm not unfamiliar with that feeling. I'm okay these days, but there's a time a few months back where I kind of asked that same question myself. I was in a really particularly lonely place. Last year, right around this time the quarantine started, obviously people are starting to isolate already. I had a relationship breakup at that time as well. So I had that loss in my life. To start things off, also the band that I play with regularly obviously more or less stopped playing, so I stopped having that social interaction. And my son was living with me, my adult son, for a time as he was just graduating from college and needed a place to stay before he moved on out on his own. And then he eventually moved out at the end of the summer. And so when that whole empty nest thing happened, combined with my generally staying at home, combined with the loss of that relationship, it was tough. I really did feel a deep sense of aloneness at that time. I know loneliness can be maybe a mild thing, a passing thing that we all might feel from time to time, but there are those moments, and maybe more extended for some, where you just feel existentially alone. Honestly, there's some truth behind that, because in a way, we are kind of walking our life alone. People come into your lives and they go out of your lives, and you miss them. So really, as far as your own journey goes, it really is your own. Nobody can really actually take the journey completely with you the whole way. At some point, when we die, we're alone, even if maybe we're surrounded by loved ones, but that experience is going to be our own. And that can be a lonely thought as well. So there's some real truth behind that feeling. And it can be kind of covered up when we're socially active, have a lot of friends, a lot of activities, maybe some good relationships. I can kind of conceal that fact and cover that up, but the reality is there is a certain aloneness to life. But that feeling, just that gut-wrenching, kind of empty feeling, is pretty awful when it happens. And that's how I was feeling there at the end of summer and early fall. I was literally living by myself, and I'm an introvert. I really don't mind being by myself, but there comes a point where it's too much even for me. That's the point that I hit there some months ago. However, it did give me a lot of chance to just dwell and think that through and observe. And as I observed, I did come to a realization of something that actually helped a lot. Because we live in two worlds at the same time, you and I. We live in this world that's in our body and in our mind, our thoughts, our feelings, our daily activities, our plans, our personalities, whatever we associate with being just ourselves. There's that part that kind of moves along from day to day and changes from day to day. There's also, at the same time, the ability to observe it objectively as it passes. You and I all have that capability. How is it that you're able to observe that and make note of that and say, oh, I'm feeling lonely? There is a side of you that's actually just observing yourself. That part of you doesn't change. It's not really affected necessarily even by all of the particular dramas and the feelings that you're going through right at that moment. It's always there. It was there when you were born. It was there yesterday. It's there today. It'll be there through your entire life. At that dying moment, that presence will also be there. And that is another side of you at the same time. Once I really put that together, but not only just getting it for one day, but starting to wake up every day from that place of whatever's going to go on today, I'm observing it. I'm watching it pass like a movie. It kind of takes the sting off of it. It kind of puts it in some objectivity. It kind of puts it in some perspective, and that helped. And then in a larger sense, I realized that that side of myself is my constant companion. And that side of me gave me the sense that, yes, we're going through this now, and it feels terrible, but it is passing, and you're going to be okay. I lived with that for days upon days upon days, and what I noticed was it was really okay that I was alone. Actually, it was more than okay. It was actually pretty awesome. Because I was living life from that timeless perspective, so I knew that, yeah, people come into my life, people go out of my life, it's all okay. Even if there's nobody there, it's okay. If I'm with people, it's okay. If I'm not with people, it's okay. And to be perfectly honest, that experience was part of what created I, because it's really living from that timeless, permanent side that's unchanging, that's always there, that's calm, that's peaceful, and not being so caught up in the day-to-day. What's going on in my mind? What's going on in my life? What's going on in my emotions? Really became secondary. And once I realized what a good place that is to live, I wanted that to become my day-to-day mantra, my day-to-day routine, my day-to-day default, and then just bring that sense into my creative project. So that's where the name came from. So to ask the question again, what do you do when you feel you're completely alone in this world? It's okay to feel that way. You let it happen. Eventually it will pass. Being completely alone in this world is actually maybe not a terrible thing. From this perspective, it's actually kind of an awesome thing, because it is giving you that opportunity to live from that wide open, vast, endless, timeless place of peace and contentment. My name is Mike. I'm an instrumental composer writing under the name I, and I do share my musical activities, my musical compositions, my creative process, and I love talking about creativity because I see creativity as that intersection between my timeless self and my temporary self, my person self and my presence self. So I wanted to share that with you today. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for listening.